What do you say to this community that has seen so much pain, so much suffering, many who come to this country searching for a better life?
Well, what is there that anyone can say? I am just heartbroken over this terrible, terrible tragedy. And I want to send my sympathy and support to the families of all of the young people who were murdered so barbarically in the nightclub. And I want to send my very best wishes to those who are still fighting against their terrible injuries in the hospital. The families and those who survived are, really going to be facing a long path forward. And I hope that not only the Orlando and Florida community, but the American community stands behind and with these families that have been so shattered. I know that the Telemundo family actually lost a young man who worked with you. I'm here in Pennsylvania. 2 young women from Philadelphia were in the nightclub. One died, one has been injured. So this is a deep and profound shock to us all.
Are you planning to come down to Orlando?
I'm looking to do that when it's appropriate, when there is, some way that I can show my support. I don't want to be in the way of the very difficult law enforcement process that is going on, or the families who are grieving or standing watch at the hospital. But I will be there because I want everybody in Orlando and far beyond, particularly the Hispanic community, to know that I want to be a president for everyone in this country. That's my goal. That's what I will do. That's what I've done in my past.
Secretary, yesterday you reiterated your proposal to fight ISIS and make America safer, adding that we should enact stricter gun control laws. Donald Trump says that what you want to do is take away Americans' rights to own guns and leave the bad guys in this country with the guns. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's like so much that he says. It's absolutely absurd and another one of his demonstrable lies. It is not at all what I have proposed. I respect the Second Amendment and the right of individuals to own firearms, but I think that we all agree that there are some people, like this young man who had been under FBI investigation, who turned into such a brutal killer, who should not be able just to walk in and buy weapons of war. So I want the country to come together. Responsible gun owners, broken-hearted family members from Sandy Hook to San Bernardino to Aurora, Colorado to Orlando and so many other places. Let's work together to try to save lives, protect people. We can do that consistent with our Constitution.
Would you be prepared as president to take executive action on the assault weapons ban if Congress continues not to act on it?
Well, I would certainly support all of the executive actions that President Obama has already proposed. And as you recall, Jose, when my husband was president, the Congress passed and he signed an assault weapons ban. So for 10 years, assault weapons were much harder to get. And then the ban expired, and we have seen a rash of terrible killings and massacres using these weapons of war. So I would like to save lives. Now, the gun lobby will say, you can't stop everybody, and I would agree with that. You can't stop everybody. Isn't it worth stopping as many as possible, saving as many lives as we can? And I think comprehensive background checks and trying to keep guns out of the wrong hands would help us do that.
Secretary, it's been revealed today that the DNC computer network was breached by a Russian government cyber operation, the DNC Opposition Research Unit. It complies, among other things, information on people like Donald Trump. It was apparently specifically targeted by hackers. What can you tell us about that incident? How worrisome is it?
Well, I only learned about it when it was made public, and it is troubling, just as all cyber attacks against our businesses and our institutions, our government are. The Russians, and according to the reporting, who did this hacking were most likely in the employment of the Russian government. The Russian government uses cyber attacks to gain information for economic, commercial advantage, for political advantage, and for military advantage. And, you know, this seems like another example where they're trying to vacuum up information. Now, why, we don't know yet. So far as we know, my campaign has not been hacked into, and we're obviously looking hard at that. But cybersecurity will be an issue that I will be absolutely focused on as president, because whether it's Russia or China, Iran or North Korea, more and more countries are using hacking to steal our information, to use it to their advantage, and we can't let that go on.
You're meeting with Senator Bernie Sanders later today, Secretary. Have you thought about him as your VP candidate? What are you guys going to be talking about?
Well, we're going to have a wide-ranging conversation because we share a lot of the same goals. We both want to raise the minimum wage. We want to fight inequality of income. We want to make college affordable, and we certainly want everybody to get health care. So we're going to discuss our common goals and how we can work together. I very much am looking forward to having his support in this campaign, because Donald Trump poses a serious threat to our nation based on what he has said. He is unqualified to be president, and he is unfit temperamentally to be commander-in-chief. So Senator Sanders and I have a lot to talk about. We have a lot in common.
Well, let me reiterate that question. Would you consider having him on as your VP?
Well, I haven't even begun to really sort all that out, Jose. We're going to talk tonight, and there are a lot of really qualified, dynamic candidates, I'm sure, to be considered for vice president, so we'll go from there.
Immigration is another subject that separates you from Donald Trump. You have said you believe in creating a pathway to citizenship for the undocumented immigrants living in this country. President Obama said the same thing 8 years ago. He didn't accomplish it. What makes you so certain that you could make it happen?
Well, for one thing, I'm going to start in the very beginning of my administration because I think this is one of the most important priorities that I have to address as president. And I'm going to work hard to elect a Democratic Senate, because I think with a Democratic Senate we can get something out of the Senate. And I really believe, Jose, if I am successful in winning in November, if we have a Democratic Senate, I think the Republican Party will wake up to the reality that their opposition to comprehensive immigration reform with a path to citizenship is a losing proposition, that Donald Trump's inflammatory rhetoric and derogatory comments do not really work in a national election. And I think we'll have a better chance to actually get something done.
Secretary, are you ready to debate Donald Trump on this and other issues?
I certainly am, Jose. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know when that will happen. As you know, there's a presidential debate commission, but whenever they tell me to show up, I will be there early, because I wanted to debate him and you know, draw the contrast between what he believes and what I think is best for the country.
You say he's not qualified to be president of the United States. What are the major issues that you feel disqualify him?
Oh, I think that his views about America, his constantly downgrading our country, his insulting our military, his defamation of so many groups of people, not just immigrants, but women, Muslims, people with disabilities. And what he said last week about the judge who is hearing his case is just contrary to the rule of law and how our country works. To say that a judge, because he had Mexican heritage, a judge born in the United States, who's done an exemplary job as a federal prosecutor and a federal judge, could not hear his case, shows a deep misunderstanding of how our country works. And I think time and time again he has illustrated he just doesn't have the qualifications to be our president or to be our commander-in-chief.
Secretary Clinton, thank you very much for being with me. It's a pleasure to see you.
Good to talk to you, Jose. And again, I'm sorry for Telemundo's loss and the loss of the families and everyone of the loved ones in Orlando. Thank you.
Hola, queridos internautas de YouTube. ¿Te gustó el noticiero? Suscríbete a nuestro canal, así podrás seguirnos viendo. Haz clic en este botón de suscribir y no tendrás que ver videos de mala calidad en otros canales nunca más. También puedes entrar a telemundo.com y ver nuestros reportajes. ¿Qué esperas? Suscríbete.